mechanic point of view of like I'm very excited of doing this fight. It looks like it might be one of my favorite ultimates. It looks very much like UCOP. It's very mechanical intense and very team based, and I love those kind of fights. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, I agree. I think the coordination in this one is really something that shines. The fight itself might not be, you know, this ridiculous alternate imagining of a whole nother possible universe if we save a character and all kinds of things, which made DSR so memorable. But I still think that these fights were some of my favorite original bosses to 14. And like you said, the group challenge of this fight, Mew, has been so fun to watch these teams unravel.
Yeah.
And then troubleshoot because, oh my gosh, this has been brutal for them. I mean, we're still seeing today even trying to consistently hit P5. Do you think that because of that, and we lost another white, and we didn't really have them up, because that intentional process is all about that?
Yeah. It's very, very difficult. Like, in Hello World, it's very, very face more like that. But you get those shivers where you don't wanna screw around. Because if you do, you lose 7 minutes of your brain. It takes a long time and it's fragile, so that's why it's very hard. And phase one. By trying to phase one.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where everyone ultimate, because they are so intense, and one misstep literally ruins even a 10-plus minute pull, you know? It's one of those things fragile. I love the way that you said that. It feels like a very fragile kind of thing, where you are balancing everything so perfectly. You feel like, okay, everything's good, you don't have any cracks, right? Oh, you die, and then the whole thing shatters. So, I mean, this fight definitely, I think, has a greater sense of that, even if maybe the spectacle is that maybe what we expected and not so much more than we didn't. You know, these movies. But they're still trying. And thinking,
Maybe.
yeah, I mean, they're trying to at least one on the fight.
I assume so.
How many? So do you guys think it's gonna be 6 or 7 phases? Because those two are the ones that keep being thrown away.
I think, looking at the time, because phase 5 is pretty long, so I guess the maybe it will be like 14, 15 minutes. There's only one more phase after this, which might be like a victory lap or something.
Yeah, I agree. I see chat, everybody's like 6, 7, and I'm of the team that I really love to just because that means that theoretically, if phase 6 is something about session, and let it be known that I'm right with Frosty and that I want like 1 win Omega MS. I am all about it. 2 wins, 2 of them, I don't know. I am all about it.
I'm okay with it.
But if that means of course, we also would hope that there's going to be some unique activity, and I would love it if it pushed too much. But you know, I expect like how
Yeah. I have hopes for a very flashy ending, just great flashy but who knows?
Now, we did get a chance with the interruption at the start here, the bug in our servers, if you will, the interruption to our connection, Omega may or may not have. We did get a chance for an interruption. So let's go ahead and toss this out here. Now that we've introduced a little bit of a talk to all of you, we'll introduce ourselves. Now, Mew, I know you were on the last one, but would you like to go ahead and reintroduce yourself in case I can for the first time? Just like,
Look, I'm in a box. That's just but talking about I'm really won't force you that I'm without stress. That's important. And now I'm retired.
That's fair. Right, you're talking about, honestly. And Nani, would you like to introduce yourself to everybody in case they've missed you previously here on the race.
Yeah, so hi guys, I'm Nani. I used to late as well, no Rogue Fog, but I just run for Savage Run.
I feel you so much.
Like, I love everything about Fog, just like places that are playing with it. But, coming at us in the next few days.
That's awesome, Naughty. I'm really glad you got finally a chance to sit down with us with Pokemon and get to join us today for this portion of the podcast. And for anybody who doesn't know, I'm your host for this hour and the next couple hours. I'm Brooke, aka Rookery. That's I'm well, okay, I don't know if you can count what you both top if you think this counts as being where the tie is. I don't feel like I don't really think but I do and it's time. Does that make me I mean I'm not hardcore race talking, but am I a retiree? Are all three of us retirees at that
Do you
point if I'm not
eat apple sauce when like with old people in this or is it? Educate the kids.
Thank you, yeah. I'm glad that you're looking at me and obviously the question that I probably would ask is there, is that
First one I'm seeing, so Mew, talk us through it.
Well, there's a Tankbuster. It's baby Tankbuster. So after this is like so there's like two tethers, there's a first one tether, which is one third, and then there is small color coordinated fists that will spawn on people and they hit the face. Which they have a set strategy that they can in specific places. I wonder if they actually figured out if it was based on certain people, because those are perfect.
Yeah, so they're not doing the exact sort of positioning that you were theorizing last hour with the whiteboard.
Oh!
But they have the groups paired up. Oh, now we get more screens into the mix as well. Oh, no. Oh, I mean, the fists were looking good, though. I mean, do you think that positioning, it seems like, with the baits and everything else, placing the fists where they were, that seems like it could work.
I feel they kind of figured out that the fists spawn in, maybe this is mega giga ultra confirmation bias, but I feel they figured out how the fists spawn because they were all in absolute perfect pairing. I also missed that apparently during that race, player gets like the weight like and they have to take that decision, so I
This is, for anybody who might not know, this is an ongoing work in progress for Spinning Side. Over the course of the day. Obviously, last night, I believe it was Austin that hit it first on our run. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's great. It's fine. It itself is actually 5. But we only have a handful of systems. So we've all been trying to sort of big brain scratch it on the course of Station 11, our analysts. They have been, I think, the biggest of brains working on it. So that's really affecting there's several of big
yeah, it might still work, well, I have to think about it a bit, but like the ultimate requires very specific positions and especially free positions, but with the big screen in there, I guess you could still make it work. But it's just, no, that was a mechanic. I know there was a mechanic in this race, I just didn't know it was a mechanic of that height.
You can still have that on top of you were theorizing that what travel like that is that phase. It's very likely to be the Starboard Larver, the infamous Starboard Larver that still has not made it to the test yet. Do you think that that's something that will like play off that? Or do you think that they're going to be simultaneous or what happens? Like the screams first and then the scenes when it's on over?
That's a really good question because I don't believe all of the customer was like doing that, but at the same time I feel if there's a screen doing that, I would like that.
Yeah, hilarious. That's the word.
The
Laughing.
I mean, for us watching, yeah.
For us watching, yeah, it would be absolutely hilarious. I feel like it's a lot of
yeah.
a lot of the show. We were thinking for a while something that you couldn't quite see before, which hopefully we'll get to see some more of today. I'm sure we will. Watch a little bit more of that phase into P5. But there was a lot of discussion that, you know, P4 or even Hello World leading up, right? There might be a gimmick. And of course, we've now confirmed that obviously it was just a DPS check. If you are able to push the Resurrected Omega below 20%, you're able to move on to P5. Now, I know you just said you're sad about it. Are you hoping that a gimmick still shows up later in the fight? Do you feel like you really think that's where it would have? You probably aren't like that much.
I'm so sad. I was like, oh, this is the biggest thing I've ever done in my life, and it's literally just fun.
You almost said last night when you went to the fight, there had been several incredible theories. The same philosophy was that the analysts were looking up where it was a different X amount of bucks in the overflow based off of programming language which activated. I was really into it.
Okay, but you say like that, it sounds very simple.
It was. Oh, it was. It was. But it was also great.
Maybe you're saying you're not sitting there with your
Well,
I thought it's just
it's half on. It's there still. I'm hopeful that maybe there's like another wall.
I don't feel like I feel like I
Yeah.
but next year we have one. That's one. I feel like this one is like that's
I do have to see. I mean, I think that's a good question. And chat, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this too. Do you think that every ultimate should have that, oh my god, kind of moment? Whether it's the gimmick, whether it's the thrill, whether it's realizing that Cat, was the key all along to love. Is it, what do you think that this point that it's that all ultimates should have that? Or do you think do you think just having a mechanical fight that is maybe not a huge buffing of expectation, but that still is truly a piece of the most difficult content game? Do you think that's
Okay,
worth it?
so what if this is ultra mega super, but what if the lack of a mechanic is a mechanic itself? Because everyone thinks like that has to be a mechanic. They think so hard about it, including me. I got baited by it, and it but everyone thinks it's mechanic. The mechanic is maybe they did that unintentionally. Just to bait you into thinking so the lack of it.
Okay, so that might be breaking the path. That might be the thing that was meant to trip everybody out.
Yeah.
There's a later they were trying to figure out what the competition was. Just you to
See, I think with that holy shit though, I don't think it has to be a relationship. I'd be happy if that was relationship. Like some really cool where like
something about Alpha and Omega and the beginning and the end. I'm not sure what that was, but roll with it. Look, I'm sorry, everybody. I don't know. Like, we'll see what happens when we have our back. But thank you for. Now, what I was going to say now, but I agree with you. I mean, I think that part of what's so great about this, and I actually saw a lot of chat isn't just from a player perspective, right? Part of why people play so specific, some of it is savage, but Ultimate in particular, I think, is just that extra level where you want to see that moment where suddenly everybody on Twitter is like, did you see? And like you said, the screenshots are flying, people are using it, and the whole community can come together over some real endgame content, which I think is a bridge that many other games struggle to kind of build. Players who are perhaps that really good at toss around, and players that may never do that content or may aspire to it and one day get to it but haven't gotten to it yet, can all share something about that content even if they're basically in it. And because of that, you see a lot of discussions about how much should we add in these kinds of things. And I honestly think that Ultimate is a phenomenal answer to that question in a sense, in that if you make something so difficult, such a spectacle, and that it re-envisions things in your game that gets everybody's imagination going, I think it almost builds that bridge. I don't know if you all feel the same, Nani, Jess, were just saying, like, with your friends sharing the screenshots, right? Like, do you feel like that?
And I think, like, that they're like, I understand, I have one of those they got invested in it now. They're like, oh, it's doing like what's it called? So they don't have this. Right? It's just like if you go in there, you feel like I don't get it unless you're like meeting on day one and it's always with your like Metro 7 just do it before and then go out. But the fact that we have like this event for example, like everyone is happening, people can enjoy stuff and that way that I honestly believe good thing that there's like a lot of content or like all of them can enjoy.
Mew, how do you feel? I know you come from the kind of hardcore end of it, but like you said, you're retired now. So do you still enjoy watching it? Do you still enjoy getting involved?
Oh, I love it. I love it. Every time this comes out, I'm excited to watch it. I might try it next year, because it's also really fun. I'm trying to find out and mix match with like some other people. I just love watching other people make strats for so many smart people, and I love them. That's the best.
Yeah, it's really amazing to see not only technical skill, but like you said, that theory crafting skill. You know, the developers, they have an idea, they know, right? They create this stuff, they envision it, they come up with it, and then it's almost like we reverse engineer what they created for us. And it's so cool not only to see how we come up with those solutions and how you and our amazing analysts come up with the solutions, but also how sometimes the solutions are different even than what might have been envisioned, or what kind of iterations players try to do as they work through this. And I agree, I think it's fascinating to go through. Now, really quick, before we get back to all of our conversation about the actual race itself, and I'd love to even do a little touch on all the mechanics and everything we've seen so far, since we've had a lot of fun and a lot of donation goals smashed today. But thinking of donation goals, I do want to go through and mention some of the incredible things that you have all done here today, yesterday, over the course of the whole race, it's been unbelievable. We cracked $20,000. 144. I mean, unbelievable. Unbelievable. That was our goal for the entire race. You are bringing us closer and closer and closer to our all-time high. We've also had a wild amount of Prime subs and gifted subs on the channel. Again, all of which is going directly to charity. So once all of this comes in at the end, all of that will be sent over as well to contribute to the grand total. But currently, without any of that counted, you have all raised $20,000, over $20,000 for charity. Because of that, we did have a special giveaway that we promised, and we are going to deliver on it. Let me walk you through our overall donation incentives, because the final one is actually what we're going to be giving away here in just a second. So if you donate at least $10 over the course of this race, you will be entered into a giveaway for the Lady of Light Elpis Ancient Mask, as well as a giveaway for the Omega Smart Home Device cover. These were rewards generously donated by the Dangerous Ladies Cosplay Kits and Polygot Crafts. They are so fun. The Omega Smart Home Device cover is brilliant. It illuminates and everything. It's fantastic, even if you just want it as a decoration in your home. If you donate at
Oh,
least,
it lights up?
it lights up. I don't know if we have the video
that's
clip
really
that you can
cool.
roll to really
Yeah,
fast. Hold up.
it's like
So good.
a LED
Well, I want
strip.
to see this.
Sorry,
How did
production.
you not see that yet?
I mean, we've been showing it. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
Here's the video. Here you go.
Oh yeah, I've seen this one. Yeah, this one is really cool.
So it lights up and the lights flash on it, which is just fantastic. It looks so good.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, again, even if you don't have a smart home device on your wall, maybe you're renting someplace, this is still great. You can use it with a lot of different things, and it's a little memento as well of this race to world first and all of us coming together over this Angry Beetleborg. For $15 donations, you will also be entered into an art commission giveaway. We have 2 of these from Lacia Everlight to have your character realized in the epic way that you envision them. And for $20 donations, our very generous sponsors with Corsair have offered up these headsets that I'm actually wearing. You can hear me talking over this crisp, incredible microphone, HS80 RGB USB wired gaming headset. And for $30 donations, or as we've mentioned, any donations that encompass these, right? So if you donate $30, you're being entered into every other raffle as well, not just this final one. For $30 donations, you'll be entered in to win an Orchestrion for your own IRL home that you can also use with your smart home devices, or that you can just have because it looks awesome and you want to like put your cell phone behind it and play music from it. You can see it even bigger there. It's so cute and it also lights up and I love it, but it's great. And because we smashed $20,000, we're going to be giving away a bonus Orchestrion right now in the chat. So I believe this is going to work pretty similarly to our other giveaway that we did for the 2 cookbooks that the author Victoria Rosenthal donated, our Final Fantasy XIV cookbooks that we did. So here in the chat in just a second, you should see a prompt that will be asking you to, there it is, asking you to go ahead and type in !ticket space the number 1. You get 1 entry, so don't try to put like 50 in. It will not count it because the computer knows how to math, even if we as Final Fantasy XIV players have no idea. So, exclamation point. No idea. No, not even a little bit.
You're called out.
Exclamation point ticket space the number 1 to be entered into an Orchestrion. Again, as a reminder, we are able to ship internationally and we would love to do so. The only exceptions might be really specific countries that have issues with giveaway rules. If you're in that location, you probably are already aware of this because most online giveaways probably don't allow you to participate. But otherwise, we will send anywhere that we can and would love to do so. So exclamation point ticket space the number 1. Now, let's get back to this fight. And Nani, Mew, I was wondering if we could do just a little rundown of the fight so far. Just kind of, it doesn't have to be super, super intense like on the whiteboard sessions, but just kind of breaking down each of the major phases and maybe just touching on what might be the most difficult mechanic, because I know a lot of people are just hitting the weekend. They probably haven't been able to tune in if they've been working or life has been hectic. So I'm sure a lot of people could benefit from a little bit of a recap. Do we want to start with Mew? Do you want to touch on maybe phase 1 and what players are looking at when they face that?
I'm the wrong person to ask. barely.
Jess,
any
would
idea
you
how
like to
phase one
touch on?
works.
Look, I haven't even rated in the last tier. I always rely on the analysts in here. So
So
if,
Miu
if I
as
can
the
roleplay as
analyst.
Miu. Wait. I can roleplay as Miu, okay? I
Okay.
can try to give my best impression.
Okay.
So,
I
so you
believe
dodge the you dodge the AoEs on the ground, and on the
Yeah.
markers you stack, and then you play.
Yeah. Spot on.
I hope
was
chat-
it good enough?
I think that was great.
pretty
I think
good.
any of you in chat that have never done any endgame content, you're gonna be able to go in and smash phase 1 easy. So do exactly
Just hit
that.
buttons.
Hit the buttons. Don't go in an AoE. Kill. And then phase 2 is pretty much the next one. I'll do this. I'll do this for us, I believe. I don't have the
Anyone
big
could.
brain like me. Okay, I'm gonna get on live right now. I'm gonna open up Final Fantasy 14, and I'm gonna smash phase 1 of Top Live. Solo.
First try?
Yeah. First try. It's gonna be great. No. So the big thing about phase 1 for anybody who might remember back to the original fight is a mechanic known as Pantagrator. So obviously, as we can see here up above us, there are some other things going on. So we have these gold towers that have to be soaked. Players have to sort of alternate how they're going to do this. And I believe, maybe you can confirm, this is based off of debuffs that they have. If you have a certain debuff, you could get in one of the towers at some point. Is that
Yes.
right? Okay.
But
so,
there's two debuffs. So there's the. I had a long discussion with Sadie about it. There's a debuff that tells you a number, and it just tells you that you are going in first. But there's also an actual debuff that you can use.
okay, so you're gonna need to keep an eye out for those numbers and then search the towers. As you probably see, we have towers happening in the Revolver endgame recently. Oftentimes the tanks have to take them out of the for the other ones. But now we get into a really difficult part of this first Pantagrator. So it's there's a lot to go off. You have these missiles that drop while this blue fire effect spins around the missile. Now, while we do this, there's also going to be a separate routine. You kind of keep on the opposite side. You have to stay further and play, partially because of larger AoEs that go off. But essentially, you have to be coordinating around this sort of spinning effect in the middle to make sure that they are not covering for the available open pieces with all of those little missiles. So you got to stack, and move, stack, and move. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
But it's the way it was captured.
Yeah.
To me, Sonic is one of my favorite characters. So I don't understand.
It's terrifying. Can I be
So
honest?
nice that you executed something.
It is. It's fun. I think actually, this is such a lot of was at here, or it was the one. And that was, I remember the original Pantagrator being one of those mechanics that was in the Savage. I was like, how does it end? Now, obviously, I've set foot in Ultimate, and we're in Fox Ultimate, although I get to bring home my first year. But, like, it's amazing to see how you can get mechanics and at first they can do something really overwhelming, and then you realize that the skills are really cool for how you get them more so.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, there's so much fun for me now, right? Like, there's great music, and I hope like older players will have more experience. There was good stuff like Chariot, Dynamo, Antigrator, right? And everyone will know what they mean, and then you guys just but give it like 2-3 tiers, they will know. And they can like
Yeah, it's you gotta get the mechanics under your belt, and then you know it, you'll be like some kind of fight where you're just like, remember that one thing, I don't know, 5 years ago that stalled us out with Savage Raid? It's that. Just do it, and then everybody knows. I love it. So that's just basically what we're doing right now. It's back to so maybe we just want to talk about as one of the big mechanics that really kind of tripped players up initially in that was the PlayStation tether. Now, a lot of the community has asked if they aren't familiar with things like Ultimate or they missed DSR. What is up with PlayStation tethers? Is there something really specific about them, the tethers, or is it the mechanic? And I don't know. Mew, do you want to give us a little insight into that mechanic?
It's a very simple mechanic, but it's hard to execute. So, how it works is like we have PlayStation, but those are just markers that indicate who you are attempting to kill. The setup only has to or you have to be not as far as by the other person, but get close. So you see what you know?
Okay, I'm looking for mid as opposed to like close,
Yeah.
like right on top.
Yeah, it's literally called mid-tree, and the other one
We'll be actually, I think we'll be able to see it here in
Yeah.
a second, hopefully. So like you were saying, there's icons, covers themselves. So here we have the top note, just indicate who you are shooting. It was actually perfect there because they were standing in such a way that
yeah, that is so
immediately
lucky.
you could just see all of the tethers, you knew everybody was tethered. And the big thing is that we have seen all of these M&S figures around the arena. Each of you has a weapon in hand, so we can see the swords. And as we go through this, you'll have things like the shield, you'll have this sort of knockback that just happens. So all of these different weapons do different things. And basically, you have those tethers, you have these things, they range about charge. Players have to navigate and position themselves in such a way that they are doing the safe spots that you can do. The connect collapse into the knockback has always happened. And then be able to navigate those tethers without like simultaneously breaking everything, hitting everybody with a million volts, all things it's a perfect animal design. Does that sound right?
Pretty much it.
Awesome. So let me get into this sort of traditional thing with the TPS. This is still, I mean, we're all referring to this still as part of that. I'm curious, actually, what do you think? So something like this, right? We're technically this is almost kind of that leads into the transition, right? But when we look at things like college phases, what kind of determines for you an entire unit phase versus something like, well, this is just an extension or anything of this phase as we kind of look at description of these fights?
That's a really good question. It's like, so this is like, so if this is like a new boss that's rematching drastically, or the health bar is getting back. Sometimes the boss is there for a
If you get a trio or something, or in like it's like the box helper, but it's such a thing. Like for example, right at the top, you have like the door, mega door, and light will always, or that will kind of make. You just get past that first. Nobody will kill overall. But it's pretty obvious that I think but that might not be the first one.
Yeah. But it has clear transition. Like,
Yeah.
very clear transition. Or even like in phase party reassembled. But it's kind of the same boss, the same arena, yet phase Yes?
Yeah, it
In my
almost,
head, it's just more like, it's just phase 3.1.
I think you could make an argument for it just being that, right? Because if we looked at giveaway that you can see up above me. Get that entry in if you haven't. We draw our winner here in just a second, and that second is now. We'll see who takes it home. We'll see who takes it home. As I see the chat like, oh no, oh gosh, exhibition point ticket. A slew of entries coming in. We'll see who the winner ends up being here in chat. This is so kind. Frosty's like, oh, there's so many. Go ahead, go on. Yeah, keep entering. Keep going. Get them on test it. Get it in. You'll see the winner pop up here in the chat. And like we talked about for all of these giveaways, on this page, you are eligible for any of these the wall is a little bit different in the chat where we can see a distinctive winner. We had Frosty, please feel free to let me know if it's already been drawn or it's been lost. I'll end it here. But if you have not yet, please see we have contacted hopefully there's a lot Frosty's got to go through, there's a lot he has to go through as we make sure everybody has whatever entry that will be prize. Organizing that. So we'll be contacting folks. Keep an eye out. Oh my gosh, lots of orchestrion lovers up in here. I love it. It hasn't drawn already. Okay. This is a long show. No more entries in the chat. No more entries in the chat. But we have more giveaways with our trivia segment. One of which will be popping up here in the next hour. So again, and to shout out and give everybody more opportunity. So, to earn this each day. So, keep an eye out, keep it out, and we'll have more ahead. Okay, Frosty says the winner is on chat, and you did. Congratulations, you got it.
Oh, Sweden.
All of Sweden, one of our cats. Amazing. Congratulations. Congratulations. Okay, let's push into it. So here we're seeing more of that P2FF like we were talking about. But beyond this, we have P3. And I'm sure if we kind of start talking about it now, by the time we're even talking about mechanics, most likely they're going to be there on screen, assuming we haven't noticed them enough about what's wrong with this run here. But we have P3, which seems very difficult at first glance, but actually, even with Hello World and Patch, seems to be fairly straightforward. Do you feel confident this is a phase that you remember that you're like, oh yeah, no, that one I got pretty well?
Yeah, like Hello World 3, I dissected so much that I honestly could go into it and just do it. Well, I just know the phase by heart. I don't know. But and also it looks very complicated, but in the end it is just very simple because it's honestly just set positions, eliminate them and what you have to do, and you and you do that 4 times, and that's it. That's easy.
Oh my god, I feel like we have that with a lot of mechanics, right? Like you get it and you're like, what
Yeah.
how is going on? And then when you learn them, you're kind of like, I don't know, you watch videos or something, and you're like, oh yeah, I don't know.
It's usually when there's a lot further down there. But it's harder.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that debuffs themselves often have the authority on the right? They are giving you essentially the parameters of the puzzle that you need to solve. But in actually about to see this very thing happen. So I love what you said to you about sort of yes or no. So the big yes or no is, right? Do I have red? You see these players in red towers have those red little squares over their head. So for them, if the answer is yes, they stand there. Do I have short tether? And you saw the short tether players stood in between them. Yes. So they're going to stand in between those two. We're going to share those so that their debuffs overlap and swap. And then everybody will do some iteration of this mechanic at least once over the course of the phase if they have done these yes or no's correctly. And then on the opposite side, we have almost the opposite here, which is that depending on how these all line up, right, you do these yes or no's. But for example, there if you have blue, you stood in blue, and with that you got what has been called defamation a lot over the years. So if you don't know what defamation is, don't worry, you didn't do this fight. Essentially, they are two talking AoEs. So as you just saw that kind of the effect that radiates out, that is the AoE that massive. They are almost the size of the arena. So players have to again reach them out so if you have defamation, you know and that you are going to be at risk. So again, it sounds like a lot, and it's hard to walk through those which then leads us into goodness and transition that was putting three players at the end here with P4 5. Jess, what do you think was making it so hard yesterday? We saw a hard wall for a lot of teams getting back to this, consistently doing those things that we're about to see. What do you think is behind it?
I mean, A, it's not fucking right, so now they have like 2 hours more. Let's make it 16. And I think it's like you should concentrate on what's happening, but you're still thinking at the time. And like just not knowing how to actually I believe
Yep.
It's not much to do. Go at it again and again and again. So we have to come to pretty big hitbox, but we still have like the backside of it, and you need to know about that to get like that maximum DPS.
Yeah, they have a good skill. But some of them, it's very good. It's very low. It's the black side.
Risky boy, isn't it?
Yeah, it could be risky, but I love using something.
Oh yeah, like I think like I have respect for this road project, right? When it comes to like savage weapons and like that. I have mad respect for that, whoever that the event mage was. I don't care, but this is about.
Yeah. Honestly, out of experience, because I used to I always felt that I'd rather have this gift in the desert, because if I see someone die, I I'm so used to it.
It's that balance, right? Your concept is great, especially for something like Ultimate or graceful person, right? Where seeing things ahead is oftentimes the key to making that headway against the team. So in that regard, having something like red, I mean even in regular progression, right? If you can start seeing a phase, it's very different than just watching a guy on it. You are getting your eyes on it in game, and you are starting to process and internalize that knowledge of it. Executed and how it will visually look. That can be a big help. But I do actually, I agree with you in that I think for a long time a big conversation has been is the resurrection element enough of a that it really does long-term give extra balance to classes, or that the class balancing it is it worth it that you have to take other areas like Ross, yeah, situation, you still are able to go. But for the vast majority, it's very likely that this is a stuff run. It's not going to happen. We're going to be walling no matter what. It's not going to be a clear. So I don't know if I think that that res does have that long term as in like value for classic. And we've seen groups switching really with the aspects of black. Yeah, it's been interesting to learn about somebody.
Yeah, every content with the lowest tier, right? Is it harder?
Yes.
Lot harder. So obviously you want that like looking at all day, you're gonna have like a higher defense. Technically, you could take more work here and quickly. So I think it's just like that little, I don't want to call it a head start, but yeah, that little room for error.
Yeah, it's good for proc. It's really good for proc, especially in the early phases where you just want to see phases, you want to see what things do, and you want to hover your mouse over tooltips. Like having a Reza is insane value. But as the fight goes on and you actually start to see DPS checks, that you start to think like, is it worth getting this many pools or losing this many pools to a 1% wipe and we have a res? Or is it worth getting the Black Mage and not have as many 1% wipes because we just have more DPS? And as everyone knows, more DPS is also more mitigation, so there's less healing and there's less phases to see.
I mean, I feel like also that you'd probably like for the earlier phases, because obviously they are faster, right? Like phase 1, phase 2, faster simply by them being phase 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like because at the level these guys are playing, they can swap. They can play Red Mage, Black Mage, and Summoner, right? Like, probably in the earlier phases you're like, okay, let's just take the rest, let zombie through a bit, because these phases tend to be easier to figure out. And then you can still like swap over when you're like further into the fight, and every pull counts more, takes more time. When you're like safe on the first few pulls.
And just to mention to everybody, while we are aware that there may be other considerations specifically for some of these changes, we aren't discussing them thoroughly in detail on stream for a variety of reasons. But I do think that something that has been interesting about this fight specifically is the fact that at many points we have thought, oh, is this a gimmick or is it just a DPS check? And as we've seen with the eventual solving of blue screen, for example, right? Which wasn't even a solve, it was just a DPS check. So, you know, we essentially have these back-to-backs. And one of the things I thought was so great during the whiteboard that I got to do yesterday with Revan and Seiji was this discussion of how we allocate in any given fight, right? The burst damage or the spike, I'm going to say spike damage, the larger than usual baseline kind of damage burst within a fight. So many of these groups aren't just looking at when do we use Limit Break 3 and also all of our buffs or things, right? They're looking specifically at how do we space these out in such a way that we have the ability to meet multiple DPS checks back to back. And as was discovered with Hello World, which we're seeing just above us right now, this phase, initially, many groups were trying to use something like Limit Break 3 here until proven otherwise, right? Because we were looking at 15% still on the boss getting through it. Of course, as groups get comfortable, as groups begin to optimize, as they take a look at the assets that they have, you start having these discussions of, well, do we hold off? Do we put our buffs here? Do we do our buff window and our burst here? Do we use Limit Break here and use burst window next phase? And Miu, I don't know if you can speak a little bit about what we've seen with the sort of strategies. Have you noticed that the groups, I mean, it doesn't seem like many of them need the extra damage in Hello World and Patch now. Are they using both Limit Break and burst windows in phase 4 to meet that check, or are they spacing them out? Do you know?
I honestly haven't been checking, but this question you asked is so loaded. I hope you understand how big of a question that is.
Miu, can you just tell us everything about Final Fantasy right now, really fast?
This is literally every Bolt Frost group. Bolt Frost group is like has this discussion. Do we take the damage do we go full ultra damage or do we go full utility? Because usually you can't do both, and there is merits to both of them. Like, you can go full utility because it might be better for proc and mitigation, or you can go full DPS because you don't want to see that 2% wipe or that 1% wipe. And it's like, it's the age-old discussion, and I don't think there is really an answer to it other than preference. But in this case, I assume people are saving 2 minutes. Like, there's like a Final Fantasy works on a 2-minute